rough times, stock market changes, home price swings, interest rate changes, and now we are seeing layoffs. Just like the weather, we are going through rough times. Here are the 5 tips to survive this rough weather. Hi, I'm Amol Heda with Keller Williams Bay Area Estates and author of Thriving Through Ownership. So I'm wearing a jacket because it's rough weather outside. And today we are going to see, today is the 4th of January 2022, and they are saying there's going to be a category 5 storm here in the Bay Area. So just like that. The second thing that I heard this morning was that Salesforce.com is going to lay off a few thousand employees, cut down downtown employment and offices along with that. So they are also going down into a cut down mode. So based on all these things, I just thought I should make a video about the rough weather outside and how do you protect yourself. So just like I wore a jacket, I'm driving my car more carefully, and if possible, just stay indoors. Those are the solutions, right? Same way, here are my 5 tips to handle the rough outside. Last decade has been unlike the last 50 years. The last 50 years have seen consistent growth, consistent stock market, and everything moving up all the time. But in 2000, there was the dot-com bust. In 2008 to 2012-13, we had the Great Depression, which was caused by a real estate market crash. And now in 2020, we got COVID, we got huge stock market shakes because of that. We got a crazy real estate cycle, increase in home values because everybody wanted to go behind homes. And that was partly caused by the Federal Reserve's ultra low interest policy to give a stimulus. And now, because of the supply chain breakdown, we are seeing inflation go berserk. So we are at 8 and 9% inflation rate, which we have never seen. So now the Feds have increased the interest rates, trying to tighten the economy. How do you deal with all these situations? And how do you plan to live steady and keeping your own high quality life? So here are 5 tips that I'm going to discuss. Number 1, stay liquid, meaning keep a cash reserve or keep as much cash as you can. So this is not an advice for those that are already sitting on a few $1 million. That's not what we are talking about. But this is about those people that do not have that much cash or do not keep that much reserves going forward. So when you have the money, the world is your friend. Everybody wants to befriend you and get to the money. But when you don't have the money, nobody gives you or lends you that money. So even banks don't lend when you don't have a job or you don't have a source of income. So it's very important to borrow and keep under your control as much money as you can. So by saying stay liquid, what I mean to say is go get a line of credit, say against your house, against your business, or against any other investments that you might have, and keep that handy. A line of credit does not cost you interest unless you pull from it and use the money. If you use money from it, then you pay interest and you make monthly payments. So that's the best thing to have when you have income coming in. So for those that are homeowners, they can borrow against their home and keep that handy. So just in case they have a job, don't have a job, it helps to have that liquidity handy. That's number one. Those that don't have a job, they can take personal lines of credits or auto loans or loans against their stocks. Even that, all that is possible. But all these are costlier debts to keep handy. So just that's the first thing. Number two, and this applies to anybody, whether they own a home or whether they don't own a home. Because even if you don't own a home, you're going to live in a rental. And if you're going to live in a rental, you're going to need money to survive. So the second one is emergency fund. And this is a common knowledge. Most people know about emergency funds. And the typical design of an emergency fund is 6 months worth of expenses that you are going to do. So just manage to put aside as much money as you would be spending each month. So suppose you determine that your monthly expense is going to be, say, $7,000 a month or $5,000 a month. 5, 6, $30,000 is what you need to set aside as an emergency fund and never touch it. So the theory behind that is that if you lose a job, you would probably make it back in about 6 months' time. So that's the emergency funds theory. Third one, and this is a caution on how people should structure. So recently the home values were crazy up because of the interest rates being ultra low. And so everybody those that already owned home saw their home values go up. And those that were recent buyers made down payments by selling, liquidating other assets, say stocks or whatever, to bring in money to buy a home. Now, with the interest rates suddenly going up, these home values have come down. So those that have liquidated their other assets, they don't have those other assets because they were gone as down payment. And today, they don't have their home value to be able to borrow from the equity of these home values. So these people, this class of people that recently bought their homes in the last 1 or 2 years will have to be very cautious with their liquidity situation. But thankfully, probably 95% of the world didn't buy their home in the last 2 years, and they still have very good amount of equity. Yes, the interest rates have gone up. We are in the 5s and 6s. But just remember, I just bought a property and I wanted to pay from my line of credit. You bet, the interest rate on my line of credit was over 6%. That's insane if you look at what the interest rates were just last year, 2%, 3% and things like that. So my wife does not want me to borrow money from that liquidity because it costs me 6%. But watch this. I bought that property with money borrowed from my line of credit. If I borrow from the line of credit, all interest that I pay, I can write it off as an expense. And when I write that out as expense, I can take as much of a deduction as is my tax bracket. And in California, we are in the 11% state and 35 to 39% federal tax bracket. So 35 plus 11, you are still 47% tax bracket. If you get almost 50% discount on the interest that you pay, even if it is 6%, do you think anybody will give you money at 3% interest rate? No. So even though it seems high, I think that interest is still a good idea to pay, right? Next, if you are in the market to buy a home, just now you have to watch out how long you're going to stay in the home, right size the home, Focus on your happiness, how you live through it. Do not focus on just the home price, or the home, ultra small home that does not give you the pleasure of living in your home and things like that. Focus on right sizing it, and do not overspend or do not underspend as much as possible, because particularly with the current rough market, the home values might further go down or might start going up from here, because next year, in the next 6 months, we expect the interest rate go up. And if the interest rate starts going down in the low fours or the fours, we are going to see people again start jumping into the housing market and ride the home values. So be careful and design accordingly. The last and the fifth tip I have for you is work very closely with your professional advisors, your financial planner, your mortgage agent, and your real estate agent. Because these people have gone through and helped multiple of their clients. And if you think you know well, based on your own situation, I think if you reach out to all three of them, or at least one or two of them, they will be able to tell you market stories, just like I'm doing. So, do you find this helpful? If you do, please share it amongst your friends that you might think might benefit. And as usual, I request you to hit on the bell button so that it notifies you, and subscribe to my channel. Bye. Thank you for watching. Until my next one.